and good morning. Happy new month. I'm sure you all are doing great. You're doing awesome. Thanks for being there in the month of July. We are here again this month. And what are we doing? We are raising the confident child. In this month of February, we are raising the confident child. We are raising the confident child. We'll be sharing the what is it to raise the confident child. Why do we have to and how? Those are the things that we'll be looking at in this month. Yeah, just doing great this beautiful morning. So let's look at the what. Who is the I'll be laying a background to all of this so we can flesh it out in the course of the month. So who is that confident child? Who is that child you can say is a confident child? A confident child is a child that sees himself or herself as being worthy, as someone that is worthwhile. Do you understand? Someone that sees himself like, I am worthwhile. I am important. Do you understand? Not because I'm wearing a designer shoe, not because I go to an international school, not because my dad drives the biggest car in our community, in our estate, not because of anything, but the child just sees himself as special, the way God sees every one of us, because that's actually the way God sees us all. That's the way we are created to be. Every one of us are unique, special in our way, in our class. Do you understand? And that's what raising the confident child is. That even if the child is wrong, he can voice it out. Have you been to places where you're asking, where a child is greeting you and can barely open the mouth? The child can barely open his mouth. He'll just be making signs, prostrating or trying to kneel down. Yes. Where a child is trying to communicate a need and cannot say it out. Not because there's a problem with the voice, but because there's a problem with there's the problem of fear in the child. The child is afraid, rejected. And that's what it is. That's what raising the confidence. That's what we are looking at. You know, it's important we get this very, 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 very foundational part of our children's life right, even as parents. And I want to say here, categorically, if you are not confident, the tendency of raising one is very slim. If you are not confident, you have high tendency of raising a timid child too. Yes, you have the possibility of raising one because the child mimics what you're doing. Those are the type of children that have a high degree of being bullied. Do you understand? Those are the type of children that have a very high percentage of just following the crowd. You have the possibility of falling under peer pressure when they cross into preteen and teenage. Simply because they have a very low definition of who they are. Their understanding of who they are is very low and is equal to low self-esteem. Do you understand? Is equal to low self-esteem. And such children are the types that when they fall into peer pressure, they try to use different things to man up. Yes. They use different things. When they feel they are being pressed too hard, there's a twist in it. And the twist is often negative. If their self-esteem is not built organically, it's not built naturally, oftentimes from the home front. The confidence of a child, I want to say this again, can only be built organically, positively from the home front. Or when the home front, of course, Even if when the home front is giving someone, a stakeholder, a mentor, a coach, the job, there's always partnership. So the place of the home front is very important on this journey. These are some of the things nobody can do for us. Yes, I'll say it again. These are some of the things nobody can do for us. Even if someone is doing it, there has to be a backup from the home front. So let's get this straight. It's important that children learn, grow confidently, have healthy self-esteem, can look at themselves from a positive point of view. Do you understand? And that's what we're saying here. It affects every area of life and learning. It affects it seriously. Except a child is a natural genius. Children that are not confident, that are average students, have the tendency of not doing well academically. Because a child that does not understand and cannot speak up, he or she is afraid to speak up. What happened to such a child? Such child is left there. Is just left hanging. Nobody cares. Because nobody knows what he or she is going through. Children with low self-esteem that are not confident learn to have, they have high tendency of having backlog of issues unresolved from their childhood. Backlog of unresolved issues from their childhood. They may not perform well academically once they are not a genius. Do you understand? And I would say this. High or low self-esteem is a function of the home. Healthy self-esteem, ability to be confident as a child, is a function of the home front. If you check our book, Parenting is A to Z and More, you would get part of it. You are your first cheerleader. Your child's first cheerleader. Before anybody in the world accepts that child, you have to accept that child. And this is not about being a perfect child. Your children have accepted you. You're a perfect parent. You are not a perfect parent, are you? No. But your children have accepted you. They've loved you as you are. Yes. They have loved you just as you are. So, what are we saying? You learn to love and accept your children just as they are. Accepting them just as they are does not mean you will leave them the way they are. No. And the first journey towards having a healthy self-esteem, being confident, is self-acceptance. Do you understand? In my home, we are not tall. Yes. Do you understand? And it's something I built into my children. It's a consciousness I made them know, because self-knowledge leads to self-acceptance. Self-knowledge leads to self-acceptance. Do you understand? My daughter is a preteen. I've been sharing with her my teenage experience. So she would begin to see it from a long view that, okay, with all this, it doesn't change the fact that, oh, this woman is married now. Do you get? Oh, she has children now. Do you understand? Her journey will not be exactly mine, but I have shared certain things with her. It doesn't change anything. Do you understand? The goal is helping them boost. It's part of their whatever. I am small statured and I know it and I love it. It is self-knowledge, it is self-acceptance. Nobody is perfect. There are certain shapes some people admire, some admires another. It's our personal perspective about life. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't reduce anything. It doesn't change or reduce anything. Children with healthy self-esteem have a high tendency of acceptance and growth in life and career. Because whether you like it or not, they are who they are. As much as it's important to encourage people to grow, change, and yes, but this is who I am at the moment. There are certain things we cannot change about our children. Can't change their height. For a child that is above 10, you can't change certain things. But we have to learn to accept them for who they are. Okay, let me cite an example. I was born into a home with 4 girls, 4 ladies, women now. And all of us, we all grew up, even my mom wears earring. She. But we all grew up to wear earring. All of a sudden, my daughter pulled earring. All of a sudden. Why? I did everything. I bought all types. At a point, I had to accept it. It's not a big deal to me now. In fact, I think I'm beginning to love it now. Sometimes I pull off mine too. I know what it feels like. Because she's my daughter, and sometimes I try to see certain things from her perspective. There is barely anything I have not done in this world. Because it's something I felt she was used to. All of a sudden, she starts acting like it's inconvenience, and I accepted it. And I didn't allow it to change anything. And that's what we're saying here. It's important we learn to accept our children as they are, as much as we want them to grow and improve and get better. But we have to do the primary work of acceptance. The primary work of acceptance, of loving them for who they are first. If you are the child if I hear. I'm not saying we allow them take over, but we must give them the opportunity to hear their views. We must learn to give them room, give them space to thrive in the home front. A child that cannot thrive in the home front has a very slim tendency of thriving in the world. You have to give them such a child will struggle to be heard. It will be struggle within. But the primary work to raising confident children is about allowing them. Give space for their weakness. Give space for their strength. Let them be the knight in their shining armor. Be their biggest cheerleader. Bring out the best in them. That's your role. That's your work. Your work is to bring out the best. I'm not against us disciplining children, but separate your child from the event. Failure is an event. It's not a person. Separate your child from that error. That error is not your child. That error is not your child. I would say that again. That error is not your child. Your child is that loving, sweet baby you gave birth to, that the whole world got to celebrate with you. Not that situation, not the broken pencil, Lord, not the rudeness. It is the love and being firm, and creating a system that would make them thrive, that would allow them come out of all these things. Create a values-based system. That's why we created our virtual character club. We teach children on good values and morals there, in creative, fun ways that would make them look forward to practicing those values. That's what it is. So we are raising the confident child this month. I just did this as a background. We'll be sharing loads of resources in the course of the month. So do stay tuned. be part of what we are doing here. Thank you so much. I remain Oluwatoyin. Enjoy your weekend. Bye. I am